Detroit's own Boldy James, Mr. Brick Van Exel, dropped a brand new project without warning, and I can't say I'm too surprised, as Boldy James is as prolific as they come. In 2022, he dropped 4 really dope projects and had a gang of features. Now, before I get into this album, I want to continue to send Boldy James my best wishes on his continued recovery from his tragic car accident about a week ago. But Boldy is already starting this year off on a strong note by releasing a new album just weeks into the new year. Obviously, he had this one in the tuck from 2022, and I believe we will be getting a couple other projects that he recorded last year. This new album, Indiana Jones, was produced entirely by RichGains, who is one half of the production duo Blended Babies, and I gotta be real, I wasn't too familiar with his work prior to this drop. This thing contains 17 songs lasting approximately 53 minutes, which makes it a little longer than most Boldy releases. It features Sir Michael Rocks 3 times. Additional guests include Gway Wap, Detroit King Tape, and Chucksta, as well as some other singers. But with that being said, let me go ahead and just hit y'all with this track-by-track breakdown. The opener, Saints and Sinners, sets this off on a smooth and tranquil note. We have minimal percussion, elegant, classy pianos, and soothing vocals from Casey Joe Craig. On this one, Boldy is basically declaring that he is neither a sinner nor a saint. Track 2, Dopey with Sir Michael Rocks, is backed by the same sample used on Cypress Hill's Illusions, a classic sample that puts the capital P in psychedelic. Sir Michael Rocks brings his laid-back charisma to this record, and as a whole, you can never really go wrong with this particular sample. Track 3, Wrong Side of Town, takes things in a bluesy direction. I like the hazy electric guitar and the soulful twanging hook from And One and Jonathan Chapman. On here, Boldy raps about coming up on the wrong side of the tracks, being a product of the concrete, doing stuff like smoking weed in 3rd grade and selling dope since 1993. The following song, Electric Blue, has more of this electric guitar presence, although there's a slight pop influence to the hook, which is very calming and atmospheric. It gives you that driving after the storm has passed feel. Afterwards is SOS featuring Chucksta. This contains a classic Barry White sample. It's simple but effective production that doesn't disappoint. And Boldy reminds us here that there's no guts, no glory on the road to riches, standing on stilts. Dude stood tall on that business. Then we shift into more psychedelic trap territory on 100 Sales featuring Sir Michael Rocks. It's the most contemporary sounding beat of the batch thus far. Boldy's hook is chopped and screwed, thus giving the record more of that woozy and trippy aesthetic. Track 17 is Still Slapping, which has a plucking melodic beat, something that you could bob your head to in a trance-like way. It's a low-key hustling anthem about turning crumbs into bricks. Track 8 is No Extender. The keys are mellow, and the production has a nice little bounce to it. Boldy is in full braggadocio mode here. He raps, "Come meet the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Brick Van Exel, 1008. I did more figure 8s than a pretzel." The subsequent song is Never Had a Friend, a record with a druggy and intoxicating backdrop. And Boldy is even rapping in this hushed tone, almost as if either the feds were listening or he's on the verge of a lean coma. On track 10, Frozen, Boldy gets introspective, and probably his most introspective in a while, to be honest. He's talking about the trauma he witnessed as a kid that left him stressing, and how he's lost everything he loved. Now he can't even feel. But it's backed by this lush, pop-infused beat that managed to work. But after this is B-22s, which has another trippy and muddy instrumental. On this one, Boldy raps about a ride-or-die girl who he keeps laced in some B-22 Dior sneakers. It's nothing crazy, but a song that is consistent with the overall vibe to the album. Following this is the highlight, 8 Days. Here, RichGains brings back the guitars, and we get a hazy rock star style hook from Jonathan Chapman about being off 8 days of good cocaine. It instantly puts one in the frame of mind of characters off the movie Blow or the Cocaine Cowboys documentary. Boldy does his thing over this sparse beat, but I gotta say, Gway Wap's verse stood out even more. And I have been checking for Gway Wap since his verse on Boldy's project with Craven last year. Don't sleep on Gway Wap, as he can definitely rap. Hopefully he has a full-length project dropping this year with some good production. Track 13, Tell It All, has Boldy doing some storytelling and even trading some war stories. His second verse jumped out the most, and he was dropping some gems like, I much prefer hate, the love will get you killed. And this has a very cool and tranquil flute sample, which was a nice change of pace. Track 14, Cat Eyes, is a low-key piano trap ballad where Boldy speaks on his desire for a bad chick with cat eyes. And to keep it a buck, it's not often that we hear Boldy James go into this particular bag, but it's a different vibe for sure, and one that I didn't mind. Whereas track 15, Muchos Gracias with Detroit King Tape, has a murky, darker trap beat. I can't say that I was too impressed with Detroit King Tape's verse, but Boldy's part was solid. The second and last song, Another Bando, has a hypnotic, twinkling beat that went super hard, but an auto-tune drenched hook that was trash. I even thought the title of the song too, Another Bando, just sounded a little dated, like something from a Migos record during the 2010s. Then the album wraps up with Dead Game with Sir Michael Rocks. We get a chopped and screwed hook from Boldy that was mixed with auto-tune, so I wasn't crazy about it, but the beat was on point. And while Boldy's verse didn't disappoint, I actually like Sir Michael Rocks a little bit more. His clever cryptocurrency drug talk just stood out. So overall, I'm gonna give this project a rating of a strong 3.5 to 4 mics. From a production standpoint, this was Boldy James's most diverse album in recent times. We aren't getting the darker and more traditional underground sound associated with The Alchemist, Griselda, or even Future Wave here. Rather, RichGains provided Boldy with a collection of more contemporary and psychedelic leaning beats, ones that blended elements of rock, blues, jazz, and trap. At times, it felt like Boldy's bars were a little less intricate than past releases. Possibly he was going for something a little more melodic, but don't get it twisted. He was still getting busy with his hustling vocab. I'd say my only gripe, besides not liking the hooks on the last two tracks, was that it could have benefited from having a few less tracks altogether. There were a couple of songs that I found to be just alright and not overly memorable. That being said, I did find it refreshing for Boldy to go in over more contemporary atmospheric production. I was kind of hoping this year that he would have one in a vein similar to this in 2023, and it ended up being his first drop of the year. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's smooth, riding music, something very vibe heavy, and continued prayers for Boldy's recovery. My favorite tracks include Dopey, Wrong Side of Town, Electric Blue, Hunted Sail, Still Slapping, No Extender, Frozen, 8 Days, and Tell It All. Let me know what you thought about this project in the comment section. It's your boy Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out, but be sure to hit that like button and please subscribe. As always, it's peace and blessings. Boldy James, RichGains, Indiana Jones, 1.